disrupted.
America that I thought weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So 2024, it's the election season. Everybody's all team up, and it looks like the Democrats are once again not preaching to the public. They can't really be able to read a room. And in fact, they want just manipulation to get people onto their side and not actually reach out to people, just like any other campaign election. It's not actually gaining the support of your fellowship. It's voting for the lesser of two evils or voting against your interest. And it just continues on as any other election process, and it's absolutely hilariously embarrassing for the main political parties of the United States, and a lot of it in Canada too, but mostly the United States here. Just take an example of this. So this happened in Nevada, and it says Attorney General Aaron Ford of Nevada is at a Biden-Harris for Nevada primary night celebration, getting Democrats motivated for 2024. Now, do you think this is going to be the preaching of, actually reforming the system, stopping the deep state, breaking up the CIA, breaking up the real evildoers that are doing wrong, stopping the wars, investing into infrastructure, housing, and stopping the increase of homelessness? Do you think that's going to be one of those things? Or do you suspect, like many other campaigns that we've seen in the past, it's just going to be an empty, vague gesture? Well, take the time to think that over, but here's the end result.
Justice!
That's right. We talk about our justice. And we talk about that thing from every single form of justice you've been thinking about. So from criminal,
justice.
Right, reproductive,
justice.
Social,
justice.
Housing,
justice.
Environmental,
justice.
Economic,
justice.
That's what we're talking about. And at the end of the day, we need someone at the top of the ticket who's going to be fighting for justice for the entirety of the American family.
And you know what's happening? He's not doing any of it. Healthcare, justice. Guess what? He's going to veto any healthcare. Reproductive justice. Guess what? He didn't codify Roe v. Wade. Housing justice. Guess what? He's allowing more BlackRock to buy up properties to turn them to Airbnbs and kicking more families out of their homes. Yay! Vote blue no matter who, because either way, you're going to get screwed. Yay! Justice! It is a sad day. It's sad when they can't even fill. It looks like, I'm guessing that's a pub or some sort of bar in Las Vegas. And by the looks of it, they can't even fill the bar. Like no one's even really paying attention. If you look at the background, if you look at the people that are around the stage there, they're probably hoping for this for a comedian. They thought this guy was going to do stand-up, maybe joke about Biden's age, which I know they can't do in the Democratic world, because look what happened with Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart made one crack on The Daily Show on his comeback. He made one crack at Joe Biden's age, and they completely went after him. The liberal establishment completely attacked Jon Stewart. So then he had to do a complete 180 and blame everything on Tucker Carlson. Because, that's the best approach to the liberal establishment, to please your donor class. But this is just an absolute failure. This is an absolute failure. This is the same garbage you hear from the Clinton campaign back in 2016. You say Hillary, I say champion. Hillary, champion. Hillary, champion. There's no message. What are they going to vote for? What kind of justice are you voting for? Oh, we want reproductive justice. How are you going to do it? I don't know. They have no solutions. They have no solutions. And the only thing the Democratic Party, because they're so in bed with their donor class, much like the Republicans, they're bought by the same lobby groups. It's one big giant uniparty. Neither of them give a damn about you. But the only thing you have a choice on to vote for is abortions and LGBTQ. That's pretty much it. And not even so much on the LGBTQ or abortion rights, because again, they didn't codify Roe v. Wade. They didn't allow people to have bodily autonomy when it came to COVID. You don't even have the right to choose anymore, but you have the right to a free abortion, according to the Democratic Party. So their big slogan is "Wait to die or die." That's apparently the big motto of the political establishment. You think that's going to rally people together? You think that's going to be the winning argument against a novice game show host? You wonder why the system is so corrupted? You wonder why the biggest voting bloc in America are people that sit on their ass on election night because they don't give a damn? You wonder why people are so sick and tired of the election process. Which brings me to this. So this is a video back in 2016 that surprisingly TYT, when they were actually doing journalism, and this is a segment done by Jimmy Dore when he was part of TYT, they went to a caucus in Nevada. And this is back when they actually did reliable journalism and exposed a lot of the scrutiny and just the game and the manipulation of the electoral system. Here's what Jimmy Dore discovered when it came to the Nevada caucus in 2016 during that primary between Bernie and Hillary Clinton. And it exposes a lot of what is wrong with the electoral democracy in the United States. Because every time you hear the word preserving democracy, I like to remind people that we haven't really had a chance to have democracy. There hasn't been a chance to have democracy. So how are you preserving democracy? You don't even provide it to people. Watch this.
Is covering the Democratic caucus at the Paris Hotel. So there doesn't really seem to be any process to this. There doesn't seem to be any kind of organization. I know they do it every 4 years, but it looks like they do it every 40 years. That's the chairman of the caucus right there. That's how they count to see who's that's literally how they do it. Anybody can just count. Any jackass could get up and count. But how do you know you did it right? He's got some stuff written down on his hand. That's how official this is. You see him? He's copying it off of his hand right now. If you notice.
I just want to say, this is the moment where I actually got more interested in politics because of people like Jimmy Dore. This is the golden opportunity. This is what I miss about the political discourse. Like, this is when the internet was actually something relevant. And now, you know, Jimmy Dore does have his show, and he does great work and all that stuff. I'm not, you know, dissing Jimmy Dore, but I'm just saying, when you watch 90% of political commentary on the internet, it just sounds like the exact same garbage you would hear on cable. And to that, I just say, if you're going to have your own show, why are you even bothering to be on the internet? Why not just, you know, market it over to CNN or MSNBC? Pitch them the idea that you're some young guy or whatever that's going to kiss up the establishment as much as possible and just go for it. Like, what's the point of you being an outsider if you're not going to be an outsider? This is the golden moment. This is where I wish more and more people had this kind of moxie, this kind of comedic presence when it came to the utter ridiculous corruption that's right in front of our nose. Like, the guy that's writing off his hand to determine the fate of the electoral process, who's going to win the primary, and eventually become the leader of the free world. You gotta love the American democratic value.
That's what's happening. It's hilarious. Very old school. This is democracy from the 1860s. Here we go. This is before calculators even.
Ladies and gentlemen, as of today's caucus results, Senator Sanders has gained 7 delegates. Secretary Clinton has, I'm sorry, 6 delegates. Secretary Clinton has gained 13 delegates.
So he just made the call. 13 delegates going to Hillary Clinton, 6 delegates going to Bernie Sanders. Working people vote against their own interests once again. Isn't that fantastic? And now they're going to vote against their own interests in Spanish.
Y la secretaria Hillary Clinton ha recibido
Oh man. Oh man, the good old days. And there's more to this.
We all thought it was over until we realized the chairman of the caucus made two huge mistakes. One, he forgot to nominate the delegates that would go to the state convention, and two, he let people caucus who weren't registered, and they were starting to register after the caucus. Here he is freaking out when he realizes the mistakes.
You mean the guy that was writing notes off his hand made a couple mistakes? This is, you know, when they said that Russia was hacking the election in that obvious lie that led to Russiagate for the last 5-6 years now, even hypothetically, if any country out there really want to hack the United States democratic election, clearly it seems as easy as pie. Clearly. You look at any other country and they're like very, anal. They got paper ballots. They got trackers. They know exactly where the votes are coming from. They know which person you have to sign up and register each person to allow one vote and one vote to be cast, and it's get counted up by individuals. Like it's a thought through process. Whereas you look at the United States, clearly, the guy has no idea what he's doing. He's counting people by hand. He goes up there and says, Hillary Clinton's got the most delegates compared to Bernie Sanders. He screwed up his line. And now he's screwed up the measures. Now he's saying that, oh my God, now I screwed up my own counting. So now it's just a complete mess. It's a complete mess. And again, just to remind people, because I know you can't mention a lot about the integrity of certain elections, especially the last previous one, can't mention on YouTube. But really, we need to have a conversation about the electoral process. If it's really this chaotic that a comedian, Jimmy Dore, a nightclub comedian like Jimmy Dore, can do a special news segment pointing this out, and it's so obvious, clearly our electoral process in America really needs to be scrutinized. Clearly, if they're worried about other countries threatening their democracy when this is the joke of democracy in America, clearly things need to be reformed and switched around.
He's screaming, damn it, because he forgot to tell him, and it's going to be screwed up.
Please don't leave.
Now he's saying,
Please don't leave.
Lots of people have already left.
I'd like to see the councils for both campaigns, please.
You see how organized it is. Shit's falling out of his hand left and right. He's running around like a maniac, yelling into a microphone.
For those of you who are still here, please don't leave. And this is my error, we did not select who the delegates would be. So if your caucus wants to nominate you as a delegate, please let me know, and I have the form for you to fill out.
This is amazing that he didn't tell the people to nominate their delegates. People started leaving, and he didn't tell them to stop until after a lot of them had already left, and he saw it. This is kind of crazy. I can totally see how these results could be easily invalidated by lots of people. Show the room left. This is what's left of the room. There was a full room. They're supposed to select delegates, and he forgot to tell them. So now there's no delegates elected, and everyone's gone. And I just want to, just a side note, from start to finish, the worst communication by a group leader I've ever seen in my life. Could not believe how poorly all the instructions were communicated, what was going on was being communicated to the people. Who'd have thought that the guy who wrote the results of the caucus down on his hand would also screw up the entire event?
This is my error.
you kind of wonder why a novice game show host, real estate tycoon, game show host turned politician was able to easily win the election. Not because of Russia, not because of foreign meddling or influence or a bunch of MAGA or everyone became racist, but because of how utterly disastrous and what a joke democracy is in America. Such a joke that the American population rolled the dice with a game show host than having 4 years of this crap. Having more of this is an obvious disaster. And when you're voting the lesser of two evils, which is a goddamn sham, because either way you vote, it's still going to be evil. It's still going to be corrupted. There's no way to vote out Wall Street. There's no way to vote out against war. It's one big uniparty. It's one big giant club. You and I ain't in it, and it's going to screw you in the ass 9 ways to Sunday. That is why Donald Trump became the powerful figure in politics that everyone's afraid of. That is why everyone ruled, the people that voted for Donald Trump rolled the dice for this game show host rather than sticking it with more years of the same goddamn establishment that screwed us time and time again. And if Jimmy Dore, the hilarious comic, can point this out in an obvious form and show you exactly what a disaster the democratic process is in America, that should just tell you right there that the whole entire institution of electoral processes and voting, and it's just such a charade. It literally is such a charade. And I'm not saying that people should not vote, period. I'm not, putting that into people's mind, but people need to understand. People need to understand that when you're getting suckled in every election year by saying that, vote blue no matter who to stop the nightmare of Trump, or voting red to stop the Democrats, this is what you get. This is the disaster. And it just goes to show you that democracy is in shambles in the United States. And that's because we don't live in a democratic institution. If we actually cared about democracy, we would have better staffing. We have a better way to sort out this mess. But we don't live in a democracy. It's an oligarchy. And it's an oligarchy that's very, very, very swiftly turning itself into a fascist state. That is what the United States is turning into. And people need to wake up to this and realize this before they cast their ballots and before their ballots get lost in this system. Really look a hard look at the nation and the process and why this needs to be why this needs to be an argument, why this needs to be something that needs to be addressed, especially coming into 2024, the election season. Between Trump and Biden, two old geezers that not a lot of people want to begin with, but we need to figure this out.